Alright, guys, so why is masturbation wrong when it hurts no one? That's a question that many young men and women struggle with. It hurts no one, it's just me enjoying my body, enjoying my privacy. But let's delve a little deeper into that question. Let's look at our body to get some answers. Right? So let's look at our organs, and how they're ordered, on what they're made for. So let's look, for instance, at our heart. What is the main purpose of our heart? But to circulate that blood. The muscle is constantly working and pumping that blood throughout our body. And likewise, our stomach. What is the purpose of the stomach? But to break down the food. So when we chew the food, it goes into our stomach. The acid there, breaks down that food to the point that it can be consumed or absorbed, processed by the intestines. The intestines then can take out the nutrients from the food that we ate, and then that is what gives us the energy that we need to continue living. Likewise, our lungs. When we breathe, we inhale oxygen. That oxygen is what gets pumped into the blood, and that circulates, and our heart circulates that blood, and everything is working for our well-being. It's working for us so that we can have life and live a normal life. But what would happen, if one of these organs would uh, stop functioning correctly or stop working towards its goal? We would say there's something wrong with that organ, and hence the person is sick. So we'll try to treat that sickness. The same thing happens, with our external organs, mainly our sexual organs. They have a function, they have a goal, they have a purpose as to why they were created. And what is that main purpose that they were created for? There are two things that they were created for. They were creating, one, for procreation, meaning for giving life, bringing life forth, and two, for love giving, for bonding, for bringing unity, for creating unity among conjugal or marital spouses. So, does masturbation lead to any of these? I would say no, it doesn't lead to any procreation, because when you masturbate, most of the times you would ejaculate and just throw it in the ground, or throw it away. That's how we do. It does not lead to any bonding, because all you're doing is just indulging yourself. You're feeding that selfish desire that you have, and that doesn't lead to any good. It's just being very, very selfish and using your given faculties for your own pleasure, as opposed to bringing forth life and giving love to someone else. You know, what I would say masturbation leads to, though, I would say it leads to two things. It will lead to the person consuming pornography and lust. What happens many times is that, when we look at a person, we usually look through that lens of lust, and that, I would say, it is part of our fallen nature. But we don't have to reside in that state. By the grace of Christ, we can start looking at someone without that lens of lust. We could grow out of it. But I would say when it comes to pornography, it's something more difficult, because pornography. What is wrong with pornography? Saint John Paul II said, the pornography is wrong because it shows too little of the person. And you would go, what do you mean that it shows too little, of the person, when I can see the person in all the flesh and naked and everything? But what he truly means when he says that it shows too little is, you cannot see in the depth of that person who that person truly is. We as humans tend to learn a lot from a person when we hear them speak, when we talk to them, when we socialize with them, when we draw closer to them. We get to know who they truly are. You know, you could say, for instance, I know things about a person. I know what she likes, what she wears, but I don't know how she truly is as a person, what she believes in. What type of a virtuous person she is. What makes her happy, gives her joy in her life. I won't know those things unless I start talking to that person. And it is there where I think St. John Paul wants to lead us. That pornography only leads us to using that person, to using only the skin from that person, just what we see. That is where pornography leads us to consume only what we see, rather than getting to know a person and building a strong relationship with that person. What it does also, it divides the body and the soul, and you start looking at a person as an object as opposed to a body and soul composite. And we were created as a body and soul composite. One of the ways I would say that we could get out from pornography is to start looking at a person as what they truly are. That is an object that we could use for our mere satisfaction, but as a daughter of God, as a princess or a prince from the kingdom of heaven. And once you start looking at a person with that eyes, you start realizing that there is more to our sexuality than just that mere biological urge. We are not animals, we are rational beings. And it is that rationality that makes us in the image and likeness of God. Our body and soul and our reason come together, and we're able to freely choose things, to freely decide what we want to do with our bodies, and to try to align it as much as possible to God's will. So, where in the Bible can we find some scripture passages that could help us understand this better? I would point to the first story that comes to mind would be the story of Onan in the Old Testament. Onan, his brother died, and as part of the Jewish law, of the Mosaic law, the brother had to continue the family for the brother that died. And Onan, he would engage in the conjugal act with his brother's wife, but he would never see to it that give his all into it. He would ejaculate outside of the woman, and God got so mad at him, because he would do that. He's not giving that life-giving seed which God has given him to this lady, and God killed him. So we get to see there. We come to understand that when God has given us this gift, this life-bearing gift that we have as men, or the life-bearing womb that the woman have, it has an end. It is to bring forth life and to bring us together as one. Likewise, when you look at the Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus is speaking there, and he says, "You've heard it said, you shall not commit adultery." And he says, "But I say to you, whoever looks at a woman, with lust, has already committed adultery in his heart." And that to me is profound, because there Jesus is pointing us to that reality. He wants us to start looking from a different perspective at the person. He wants us to have that gaze that Adam had for Eve, when he saw her in the garden, when God was bringing her to him. And he said, "At last I see flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone." And he saw her, and he felt this love for this woman, because now he can see someone that would complete him, that would bring him to that fullness of man that he should be. So that is how God wants us to look at them. He doesn't want us to look at a person with how we can use that person. Lust is always trying to find a way how I can get something from this person, while love is looking at how I can give to this person. And that is how Jesus wants us to look at someone, to look at them as they truly are, a gift from God, a princess from the kingdom of heaven, or a prince from the kingdom of heaven, because that is our true identity, and that is whom we truly are. He wants us to start looking at the person and the true beauty of the person, and not only the material or the physical beauty that the person has, but to look at the person as a whole, as opposed to just the object that we see. So how do we deal with this though? Because we have this, of the fall, we will struggle with lust. So how do we deal with this? I recall, in my journey with Christ, I struggled a lot with lust. And I remember going to confession several times, and the priest there would always tell me, when you see someone beautiful, glorify God with it. Say, "Lord, thank you for this beautiful woman or this beautiful lady that's walking by. I glorify you and I give you thanks for letting me see her and see your glory in her." And that helped me a lot to start understanding that there's more to a woman than just seeing her as a mere object. And then another thing that I started to do was to pray for that person, whenever I would see such beauty. I would also, always have ready in my mind a Hail Mary, because I didn't want to distort that beauty that I saw. I didn't want any impure thoughts to start coming into my mind. And I would always invoke our mother, to help me remain pure and have that purity in thought, as opposed to start thinking on how I could use this person. And that has really helped me grow a lot, to get out from that state where I would look as a person just through the lens of lust. But I have grown to the point where I can look at a person and thank God and glorify Him for her beauty. And it's always amazing how God always will lead us to true good and beautiful in every person if we truly desire and we truly ask for His grace to come into our heart to help us. I would say that it is not possible for us to walk out of that desire by our mere strength, but we would have to accept His grace. That is why Christ came to this world, to help us walk out of faith. And once again, I just want to thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned why is it wrong. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and look out for our next video to come. Thank you very much.